In the brutal chaos of World War II's Eastern Front, tales of incredible feats of arms were forged in fire and steel. Legends were born, stories of heroes and unstoppable machines. But among all these stories, one stands out, almost too incredible to be true. It's the story of a single German Tiger tank, allegedly taking on and destroying over 50 Soviet tanks in a single engagement. Did this really happen? Could one tank crew in one machine truly achieve such a monumental victory against overwhelming odds? Today we're diving deep into the history books, battle reports, and personal accounts to separate fact from fiction. We'll explore the legend of the lone tiger that supposedly bested an entire armored battalion. To understand this incredible claim, we first need to understand the machine at its heart, the Panzerkampfwagen 6, better known as the Tiger I. When the Tiger first rumbled onto the battlefields of 1942, it was a shock to the Allies. This wasn't just another tank, it was a mobile fortress. Weighing nearly 60 tons, its frontal armor was so thick that most Allied anti-tank guns simply couldn't penetrate it, especially at combat ranges. Shells would just bounce off, leaving little more than a scratch. But the Tiger's true terror lay in its main weapon, the legendary 88mm KWK-36 gun. This was a weapon of incredible power and precision, derived from one of the war's most effective anti-aircraft and anti-tank guns. It could punch through the armor of any Allied tank then in service, including the Soviets' formidable T-34 and KV-1, from well over a kilometer away. This was a game-changer. A Tiger crew could engage and destroy enemy tanks long before those tanks could even get close enough to have a chance of damaging the Tiger. It was a sniper rifle in a world of muskets. This combination of thick, nearly impenetrable armor and a long-range lethal cannon created a psychological weapon as much as a physical one. The fear of facing a Tiger, of being completely outmatched, was a very real factor for Allied tank crews. So the machine was certainly capable of great things. But 50 tanks? That's another level entirely. Now let's talk about the men who made these legends possible, the German tank aces. The German military placed immense value on experience and skill, and their tank training was rigorous. Crews who survived their first few battles quickly became hardened veterans. Aces like Michael Wittmann, Otto Carius, and Kurt Knispel became household names, credited with destroying over 100 tanks each throughout their careers. These weren't just vehicle operators. They were masters of their craft. They knew their tanks inside and out, understood battlefield tactics intuitively, and possessed nerves of steel. An experienced commander, a crack gunner, and a skilled driver working in perfect sync could turn a Tiger tank into an instrument of almost surgical destruction. They would use the terrain to their advantage, setting up ambushes, using hull-down positions to protect their tank's weaker parts, and picking off targets with ruthless efficiency. The synergy between a veteran crew and a technologically superior machine like the Tiger is the key ingredient in all these stories of lopsided victories. So, where does the story of one Tiger versus 50 tanks come from? While there isn't a single universally accepted battle that perfectly matches this exact number, there are several famous engagements that come very, very close and likely form the basis of the legend. Perhaps the most famous is the Battle of Villers-Bocage in Normandy, 1944. There, the legendary SS tank ace Michael Wittmann, in his Tiger, single-handedly charged into a column of British armored vehicles. In a chaotic, close-range fight lasting only about 15 minutes, Wittmann I and his crew are credited with destroying around 14 tanks, multiple Bren carriers, and other vehicles, completely shattering a British advance. While not 50 Soviet tanks on the Eastern Front, it's a prime example of a single Tiger causing disproportionate chaos and destruction. Another contender is the incredible story of SS Oberscharführer Franz Staudegger. On July 8, 1943, during the Battle of Kursk, Staudegger's Tiger was reportedly engaged by a group of around 50 Soviet T-34s. With his commander wounded, Staudegger took charge. Using the Tiger's superior range and firepower, he began to systematically pick off the attacking tanks. By the end of the day, his crew had exhausted all their ammunition and had knocked out a staggering 22 Soviet tanks, forcing the rest to withdraw. For this action, Staudegger became the first Tiger crewman to be awarded the Knight's Cross. 22 tanks is an incredible achievement, And it's easy to see how, over time and with retelling, that number could grow in the fog of war and legend to become 50. Then there's the story of another ace, Alfred Rubbel. He recounted an engagement where his small group of Tigers faced a massive Soviet armored assault. While not alone, his individual tank was credited with a huge number of kills. In these desperate defensive battles, German Tigers were often used as fire brigades, rushing to plug gaps in the line against overwhelming numbers. A single, well-positioned Tiger could hold off an entire Soviet battalion for a crucial period, knocking out tank after tank as they advanced across open ground, unable to effectively return fire. It's in these chaotic and desperate last stands that the numbers start to get fuzzy and the legends grow. A gunner might claim a dozen kills, a loader might remember seeing 20 burning hulks. When official reports are written days later, these numbers can blend together. So let's analyze the plausibility. Could a single Tiger crew destroy 50 tanks in one go? It's highly unlikely, but maybe not absolutely impossible under a perfect storm of conditions. First, you'd need an elite veteran crew at the peak of their abilities. Second, the terrain would have to be perfect for the Tiger. Long, open fields of fire where it could exploit its range advantage, and good cover for a hull-down position. Third, you'd need an almost unbelievable amount of luck. The tank couldn't suffer a single mechanical failure, a thrown track or a jammed gun. The 88mm gun barrel itself would become dangerously hot after firing so many rounds in succession. Finally, the enemy would have to be either poorly led, poorly coordinated, or forced into a suicidal frontal assault without infantry or air support. They'd have to keep coming one after another into the Tiger's kill zone. While the Red Army did sometimes employ massed frontal assaults, 50 tanks is the size of an entire tank brigade. It's difficult to imagine a scenario where a single tank could face that many and survive, let alone win. The most likely reality is that the legend of one Tiger versus 50 tanks is a composite, an amalgamation of several incredible but real events. It's the story of Staudiger's 22 kills, mixed with Whitman's rampage at Villers-Bocage, and combined with dozens of other engagements where a lone Tiger held the line against impossible odds. The number 50 is likely an exaggeration that has grown over time, a powerful symbol of the Tiger's dominance on the battlefield. The truth isn't one single event, but a collection of them. It's the story of superior technology, combined with exceptional human skill and courage, creating moments in battle that bordered on the unbelievable. These stories served as powerful propaganda at the time and have since become a core part of World War II mythology. So did one Tiger ever destroy 50 Soviet tanks in a single battle? The historical record says no, not in one single verified engagement. The claim is more legend than fact. But the legend itself tells a greater truth. It speaks to the terror the Tiger tank inspired in its enemies, and the incredible feats of arms that highly skilled crews were able to achieve with it. The reality, with aces like Franz Staudiger knocking out 22 tanks, is honestly almost as impressive as the myth. It shows us that even when the numbers are exaggerated, the underlying story of the Tiger's power and the skill of its crews is very, very real. It remains one of the most formidable fighting machines ever built, and its legend continues to thunder through the pages of history. What do you think? Do you know of any other incredible tank stories from the war? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to read them. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into military history, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.